You've probably heard that Google Analytics is being discontinued, and it's true. They're shutting it down on July 1st, 2023. So today I'm going to explain why they're shutting it down, why are they doing this, as well as what steps you'll need to take if you want to transition to their new system. If you've logged into your Google Analytics account recently, you've probably seen a countdown timer like this, or you've received an email like this urging you to take action. That's because on July 1st, 2023, Google is shutting down the current version of Google Analytics and transitioning to a totally new version of Google Analytics. Their naming convention is a little confusing, but basically it boils down to this. Prior to July 1st, Google Analytics is referred to as Universal Analytics, or GA3. After July 1st, Google Analytics will be referred to as Google Analytics 4, or GA4. Now, after July 1st, if you want to use Google Analytics to collect data about your website so you can measure what's going on, the good news, it's still free, but you'll need to set up a new property on Google Analytics 4, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So the first thing you might be wondering about is, Universal Analytics seems perfectly good. Why are they discontinuing it? Well, there are two main reasons. First, the technology has run its course. It's outdated. But the second reason is it's getting more and more difficult to measure things online. Due to legal concerns about online privacy, the big tech companies are phasing out third-party tracking cookies. Apple started this in 2021, and recent reports indicate that the Google Chrome web browser is most likely getting rid of third-party tracking cookies in the next year or two. Also, more and more people are using ad blockers, which block many tracking codes and scripts. And so Google Analytics 4 was developed in response to this changing digital landscape. So what do you need to do to transition to Google Analytics 4? Well, there are multiple ways to set things up in GA4. I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way to do it. There are two scenarios we'll look at. Scenario number one is if you already have a Universal Analytics account set up. The second scenario is if you're starting fresh and you do not have a Universal Analytics account set up. If you already have a Universal Analytics account, log into your dashboard at analytics.google.com. Click on the gear icon in the lower left. Click the blue Create Property button to manually create your GA4 property, and you'll see this. Just enter your information. Everything is pretty straightforward. For demonstration purposes, our property will be abc123.com. Select your time zone, then click Next. For industry category, pick whatever applies to your business. Then select Number of Employees and click Next. Choose your business objectives, just choose what makes sense, don't overthink this, then click Create to create your Google Analytics 4 property. Now, very important, we have to set up our data stream. Since we're setting this up for our business website, we'll select Web. Then you'll enter your website URL and stream name. Leave all other settings as is and click Create Stream. You'll then be taken to a page where you'll retrieve your Google tag. Select Install Manually. This is the piece of code you'll need to install on your site, and it's what sends data from your website back to your GA4 property. If you're not sure how to install this tag onto your site, just forward this entire tag to the person who manages your website, and they should know what to do. If you find all this tech stuff about GA4 confusing, we can help. We offer done-for-you services. Just click the link below this video, or you can just go right to our website, markbrinker.com/done-for-you, book a call, and you can tell us what you need help with. A quick note, if you're already using Google Tag Manager, then feel free to add this tag or piece of code to Google Tag Manager. However, if you're not already using Google Tag Manager, don't even go down that rabbit hole right now. Just keep things simple and install this tag manually. You can always upgrade to Google Tag Manager at a later date if and when the need arises. Remember, all we're trying to do right now is turn the spigot on and get the data flowing into your GA4 property. That's it. There's one additional setting we need to configure. To get there, click the gear icon once again in the lower left. Make sure your newly created GA4 property is selected. Go down to Data Settings, then Data Retention, and select 14 months and click Save. Now, if you're still seeing these alert messages prompting you to complete your GA4 setup, even though we just set up your GA4 property, here's how to get rid of this alert. Now, before we take the steps to get rid of this alert, let me make a quick comment. The primary reason we're setting up our GA4 property manually is to ensure it's getting done correctly, which may or may not happen if you let Google do it automatically. And I'm not knocking Google. In fact, Google's own documentation recommends that you set up your GA4 property manually. Okay, so now that we have our GA4 property created, how do we get rid of this alert at the top of the page? Click on the admin gear once again in the lower left. Make sure your GA4 property is selected. Click Setup Assistant. You'll then see tasks that aren't completed. Go to each task, click the right arrow, and mark as complete. You can always go back and adjust or reconfigure things in your GA4 property at a later date, but at least this will get rid of those annoying alert messages now. For scenario number 2, where you're starting completely fresh with GA4 and you do not have an existing Universal Analytics property, the GA4 setup process will be nearly identical to what I just demonstrated, except the process will be a little cleaner because you won't have any baggage from a prior Universal Analytics account. So here's what you do. Make sure you're logged into the Google account you use for your business, then go to analytics.google.com. You'll see this page. Click the blue Start Measuring button, then just fill in the data. The only real difference is that when you're starting fresh, like in this example, you first have to create a Google Analytics account, then you create your Google Analytics 4 property within your account. Whereas in the prior scenario, our analytics account was already created and we went straight to creating our GA4 property. After you go through all the setup steps, how do you really know your GA4 tag is installed and working correctly? The two quickest and easiest ways are this. Method number 1, open up any page on your website, then do a right-click View Source and search for the GA4 tag in the code. By the way, the keyboard shortcut for searching is Control F. All you have to do is search for the measurement ID that's embedded in the GA4 tag. If you can see your GA4 tag in the source code of your website, you can be 99% certain it's working and sending data to your GA4 property. To get your GA4 measurement ID, go to analytics.google.com. Once again, click the admin gear in the lower left. Make sure your GA4 property is selected, go down to Data Streams, click the right arrow, then you'll have your measurement ID. That's really all you need when you search for your GA4 tag. However, if you ever need your entire GA4 tag, just scroll down to View Tag Instructions, click Install Manually, and you'll find it there. The second way to confirm your GA4 tag is firing and sending data back to your GA4 property is to view real-time reports. To get there, go to analytics.google.com, click the gear icon in the lower left, make sure your GA4 property is selected, then on the left, click on Reports, then Real Time. And assuming you have people visiting your site, they will show up here, and now you have 100% confirmation everything is working properly. If you have a new site or a site that doesn't have tons of traffic, open another browser tab and visit your own site, then switch back to your real-time report, and you should be able to see yourself on the map. A quick note about real-time. Real-time doesn't necessarily mean instantaneous. There might be a 30 to 60 second lag before the real-time overview registers a visit from a user, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty quick. As we wrap up today's video, you've probably noticed that the GA4 dashboard is quite a bit different than the GA3 dashboard. That's because these two systems are totally different, apples and oranges. I'll have more info in the near future on how to customize your GA4 dashboard so you can make sense of all the incoming data from your site. But the purpose of today's video was to, number 1, make sure you were aware that GA3 will stop working on July 1st, 2023, and then number 2, show you how to quickly and easily set up a new GA4 property and get the data flowing from your website into your analytics account. Well, that's it for now. Hopefully I was able to add some clarity and demystify some of this Google Analytics transition stuff. So have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.